Yeah, look at that. Fuck it. What do you think? You like gar fishing, buddy? Oh yeah.
Here today, guys, to talk about alligator gar on the fly. I've noticed there's not a whole lot of information on it, not a whole lot of people talking about it or posting on it on Instagram or YouTube on how to or any of that. There's not even really any videos on sight fishing them even. You know, I have some up, mostly in the story. But yeah, I figured people have asked, people have talked about it, people have mentioned it's not on there, and I figured someone should do it. So we've caught some pretty big ones, you know, 60, 70 pound alligator gar on a fly. And figured would, you know, could be the guy to tell you. But yeah, I figured I'd go over rod selection, leader that I like to use, flies, just kind of cover the basics. You know, you can make it as complicated as you want or as easy as you want. They're predators. They want to eat. You just got to feed them. But yeah, so number one thing I'm going to talk about is the rod setup. I'm mostly throwing, hung up here already, mostly throwing a 12 weight. I have it in a house, so I'm playing in danger zones. Pretty big rod. We were throwing like 10s and even smaller stuff when I was first learning how to fish for these guys, but quickly realized that, you know, we were undergunning ourselves and wanted to go at it more like the muskie and the tarpon guys. Really kind of blending the two together for the species in the river scenario that I'm doing mostly. Yeah, there's, you know, they're in the salt too. You can sight fish them on flats. Good time, why not? You know, if you know where they are, go do it. I'm just doing freshwater. But yeah, you can definitely implement these things onto there. So yeah, a good sturdy 12 weight, a good reel with a good strong drag system, because I mean, you've had this reel locked up almost all the way and they're still pulling drag. We did not land that fish. It was a monster. I don't know how much, but it was probably a triple digit fish, and it won that fight that time. It kind of wraps the line around the reel and got away from us, and yeah, sucked, but you know, me and the client got to see the thing jump in the air, and we knew what we were attached to, so it was pretty cool. You know, from there, I'm using the Behemoth, you know, relatively nice price reel, but there's plenty of reels out there. I'll probably be upgrading this year. I've got another new 12 weight already for this coming season, and I gotta get a new reel for it as well, and fly line and stuff like that. So that brings me to the next thing, fly line. Gonna throw basically like what you're throwing at tarpon, or muskie, I guess, too, and not being scared to even go with the kind of GT core kind of stuff from Cortland and some of these other companies. Not affiliated, just saying. But yeah, so intermediate 12 weight is kind of my go-to. I would try to go with the XL cores that some of these companies have that are not just 20 or 30 pounds. They're like 50 or 100 pound cores. You're hooking up to a big fish, and who knows what's going to happen. So it's good to win and be prepared, and, you know, taking a page out of some of the big fish chasing guys. And then you know, you can do 10 weights and stuff like that. Intermediate's the go-to, but you know, if you know you're going to be sight fishing them, probably throw it a float. Probably still going to throw it intermediate myself, unless, you know, I'm throwing top water. Even then, I might throw it intermediate. But other than that, you may end up with a 300 to 500 grain sinking line, also depending on flows and what kind of situation you're fishing in. These gar can be in, you know, 10,000 CFS on these bigger rivers and stuff like that, and you know, it's kind of hard to get down to with a fly. Honestly, I'd probably fish less current than that, but you know, you can try. Heavy fly, heavy fly line and all that stuff. And then from there, my leader, not going too complicated most of the time. Like this one is probably like 5 foot, 6 foot, not anything too much to worry about. But building the leader, doing like a 50-pound butt to a 20 to 30-pound midsection. I think this one's 30 right here. This one's called a gar. To an 80-pound to 100-pound bite. The bite at least a foot long, typically like 18 inches or something like that. You're gonna eat it up. But I have started playing with these little swivels and stuff like that to kind of help from eating up the leader as much. But you can see this just caught a fish, and I would have cut it off if we were gonna keep throwing alligator gar that day. But we were done. We went and looked for drum and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, you can go IGFA with it. We've landed some pretty big fish throwing like 20-pound IGFA leaders and stuff like that. Just depends. If you go straight 50 or straight 80 or straight 100, yeah, it'll work. But you hook up to a fish that tangles a tree, or you hook up to the bottom of the river, and there's nothing you can do to get that back. So it's nice to have something that kind of breaks off in the middle somewhere. So even though it's every now and again I'll try to be lazy and not worry about that, but you got to put something in there, or it's gonna get you. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna break a fly line, a loop. Something's got to give. So, and fly lines aren't too cheap these days. Yeah, and then from there, the flies. I'm not doing rope flies. Rope flies don't work for alligator gar, and really you shouldn't use them at all. They seal up. Not needle. I know the name of them. Long nose gar, they'll seal their mouth shut. If you leave one fiber, they can't eat. Same thing with spotted gar and short nose gar and stuff like that. And then the alligator gar snout is more boxy, and it doesn't really fray or tangle in there anyways. So you want to use these kind of bigger 6-inch bait fish style flies with really sharp hooks, SL12s from Gamakatsu. You can't beat them. 1/0, 2/0, stuff like that. Not as big as you might think, but not super small either. But a super small stout hook will button up pretty well. You'll see some of the bait fish guys also switching to smaller stuff than you'd think, even though they're throwing a huge piece of bait like this. Yeah, and then from there, play with it. It's a learning game. We can kind of catch them all kinds of ways. They live in all kinds of scenarios. I got a box that's like streamer oriented like this, all kinds of different flavors. And then different, weights and stuff like that. Sometimes you got a little more current, 5,000 or 2,000 or whatever it is. And then this one's a bunch of experiments. You can see the tails, tube fly sections. Something I'm playing with a little bit, but not as much. I kind of just like throwing the single hook stuff, but fun little concept where you can take two, it's all on a tube system. I don't know if you can see it on the video, and like build a fly that you want to throw at them. You can change it out. Oh no, I want a purple head or whatever. So that tube system's pretty cool. It works pretty good. It throw all that stuff away, just the hook. But if you break it all off, you lose it all. So the risky play with a toothy fish. From there, yeah, I don't know. Learning to target them, that's up to you. You got a river situation, or you want to book me and learn how to do it. I'm there for you, but for this video, I think we're just going to cover the kind of equipment we're using to chase these big fish. Make sure you have your drag set if you hook one, especially if it's, most of them are that we're catching 50+ inch fish. You want to have that drag set. You don't want it to pull out and get a tangle up mess, and then you lose that fish because you weren't ready for it. Yeah, that's it off the top of my head right now. Maybe next video we'll cover some other stuff on how to target them, how to find them. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll definitely put up some video of like some fishing action, catching them on fly rods and stuff like that. Good luck out there, guys. Catching alligator gar. They're fun. They pull back. Underrated fish.
Got him on the nose.
The nose biting me.
Let go, bud. We're letting you go.
Camera shy.